Dave?
Aye.
Aye.
Dee?
Aye.
Chris? Aye. Okay, great. Thank you. So let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Dana, do you have are you, there it is. Good. Okay. You wanted to come in here, just go lie down. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one meeting, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. Down. Go lie
You
down.
even get one on Steve's shirt too.
Just in case they didn't have one.
Okay. So we'll begin tonight. Is Mike here?
I do not see him yet.
I don't see him. But Karen is here. So we'll move on to Karen. And then we'll come back to Mike. Hi, Karen.
Just roll right in. You can take it up. I'll just back
Thank
up.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm here to request that you sign another abatement for the two utilities with whom we had an agreement, Public Service and Unitil. And the reason that I'm asking for this abatement is an additional abatement is the abatement I entered in April or in May for the July bill really didn't do anything. It actually decreased the amount that was due. But in the fall, when the new tax rate was set, the system took the assessed value for those two entities, calculated the amount due, subtracted what they had paid, and billed them the difference. So unfortunately, even though these are presented to me as an abatement, they're not an abatement. What the town had agreed to do was to pay Unitil $75,000 and to pay Public Service $19,574 over the course of 3 years. And so that what that meant was that these were really not abatements. They were payments that the town was paying for these two entities. I entered the spring payment as an abatement, and therefore it wasn't considered when the fall bill was calculated. And so it was Public Service that came back to us and said, no, this isn't right. And so we recalculated the bill, and I realized that the abatement I entered lowered the amount that was due in July, but it did nothing to affect the overall bill, which was calculated in the fall. So the abatement payment that I entered in December of 2019, and then, or for December, and then again for this bill, that worked, but the spring one did not. And so I'm asking that you sign these abatements, one for $12,500 for Unitil, and one for $3,262 for Public Service. Public Service did not pay the amount. They were the ones that helped us discover this issue. And actually, Unitil has overpaid us by $12,500. Wow. So by entering these abatements in a different manner, they come out as actual payments and will decrease the amount due. I'm not sure I've explained that. It's a complicated issue.
It is complicated. I'm wondering, does this have anything to do with any interactions we've had with Sanssouci? Dana, is there any? It's not. This is completely separate.
No, yeah. This is a separate issue.
This is the lawsuit that many towns had with these two entities.
Yes.
And what the agreement was.
Right. Yeah.
So basically what I can tell you is these were presented to me as abatements. I entered them as abatements, not understanding how that would affect the calculation in the fall for the total amount due for the year. So what I entered in the spring for the July bill didn't reduce their amount due for the year. So there's a special place in Avatar where you have to check it off as an abatement payment. not a real abatement, but a payment. It's a very unique situation. In the 10 years I've been tax collector, I've never seen an instance where the town has actually literally paid itself. The way to avoid this would have been if I had asked Dana for a check for these amounts and run it through the system as an actual payment. Does anybody understand that?
No,
That makes sense to me.
so going forward, then you've got things under control.
Going forward, I now know where the little button is that will, you see, we're not changing their assessed value. There's nothing wrong with their assessed value, which is what an abatement does. It says, we charge you too much. Your property was assessed too high. So when you put in an abatement, normally you're lowering the assessed value. We're not doing anything to the assessed values. They're assessed properly. What we're doing is we're making payments. In lieu of giving them the checks that were due lump sum, we're saying we're going to pay those amounts over the course of 3 years.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't have any questions. Dave, Dee?
No,
But my only question is there anything that we need as far as a motion for this, or is it just an awareness? And second, there is another abatement attached to that form.
Yes, and let me explain that one to you. And to answer your first question, yes, we are going to need a motion, the board to make a motion to allow us to abate public service, the 3262, to refund Unitil 12,500. And also I put in a small abatement for $44, which is for the lot that the town was given by Elaine Healy. That by the time the paperwork came through, the tax bills had already gone out.
You said Healy, but this says
You mean Hebert?
Is it Hebert? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did I say Healy? I'm sorry.
Yep.
I knew an Elaine
Fine.
Healy once. Yeah.
I did too, actually. All right.
So everybody okay with this?
yes.
Okay. So let's see. Dana, why don't you give me the words again?
Okay.
I moved. Go ahead.
I move to abate public service company in the amount of $3,262 as per our court agreement with them from when, 2019?
Yeah.
From 2019. And
Okay.
also, oh, okay, well, maybe we should do some separate ones, yeah.
Yes, I'm going to move to abate.
Yes,
I had 2 dogs that had to go to the bathroom just now, so I'm not going to tell you any more than that. But my focus was a little disturbed. I moved to abate $3,262 to public service as per the agreement,
the court agreement of 2019.
the court agreement of 2019.
Second,
So it's all right if we do 2 and you can have
Yes.
it, okay.
No.
Okay, thank you, Dee. All in favor?
aye.
Aye. And then I move to abate Unitil.
That would
Is-
be refund because they've already paid that money.
I'm sorry.
Which
I,
is- Yeah.
oh, okay. So is the rest of it the same?
No, you're fine. Yeah, so it would be to refund Unitil
Okay, the
the
$12,500.
$12,500 as per the court
The
case
court,
2019.
okay, as for the court case of 2019.
Second,
Second? Okay, all in favor?
aye.
Aye. Okay, and then on the final motion would be I move to abate $44 to Elaine Hebert regarding the property that she donated to the town.
Second.
All
See,
in
Dave,
favor?
you and-
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
I'll send you these for your signatures.
Okay.
And then Karen, you had total notice that you wanted to talk to them about.
Yes, every year, Total Notice, that's the company that does our mortgagee searches when we do leaning and deeding, so that the mortgagees are properly notified as required by law. They're an excellent company. They are easy to work with, nice to work with, and they give us wonderful documentation. So I'm asking that you just sign the contract again this year, as you've done every year for the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 years.
Okay. Good. Any questions?
My only question is based on amount. I didn't look at the full amount there, but is this something that we need to get competitive bids, or that we need to
No.
put out? Okay.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I think this is really, there's very few people that do this, Dave.
I expected not, but I
Yeah.
wanted to ask because it is part of the town policies to do
Sure.
so.
Okay. So I think that a motion is required here, correct?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay. So I saw, let's see, hold on.
Are you looking for the contract price, Chris?
I am.
1843.
1843.
Yeah.
Okay, I move to approve the sum of $1,843
All right.
to, I'm having trouble finding where this is on our,
You keep a copy of their insurance. What they do is they charge us for the number of
All right. I'm sorry,
properties
Chris.
they have to.
I told you the
research.
wrong amount. We won't know the cost of that until they know how many properties we have to give them for the tax deed. The company has Total Notice. It should be in your SharePoint.
I'm looking in my SharePoint. And is it under,
It's under the select board meeting of 111,
right?
and it would say Total Notice.
Okay, I don't see it.
It's listed as contract for tax collector. Total.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, thank you very much.
I
Okay.
believe he charges $20 for each property that he searches. And then additionally, if there is a mortgagee, then he sends a notice to the mortgagee.
Yeah, it's
So-
listed as registry research and notice preparation for deeding is $25 per parcel, and registry research only is $20 per parcel for lanes and deedings.
Yep.
So it's either 20 or 25 per parcel, depending on the parcel.
Right.
So how do I approve this then?
I
Just
would
say-
say you'd make a notice to approve the contract for 2021 with Total Notice for services related to tax deeding.
Okay, so why don't I move to approve the contract for 2021 for the pricing schedule, as it says here, for annual tax lien and tax collector deeds, in the amounts provided. Is that
Sounds good.
reason?
Sounds
Karen, will that do it? Dana, that'll do it?
Yes.
I'm very
Yeah.
happy if I have a signature on it. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Then there'll be a signature needed.
Okay.
It requires the signature of one board member, I think.
Okay, well, I'm coming in tomorrow morning anyway, so
Okay.
I'm glad to sign that, but I need a second on this.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Aye. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. All right. So Karen, is that it?
That's it for me. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Karen.
Mhm.
Okay. Is Mike here yet?
I do not
I
see
don't see him. Yeah, would you? I don't think I heard back from him.
I can-
So,
I'll get my-
okay. Michelle
Why-
is going to check with him to see if he's going to come on.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So why don't we do monthly department reports instead? while we're waiting. So, Steve, why don't you start? We've received your monthly report.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay. So as of December 31st, the remaining balance in my budget was $34,340.97. So that's being 13.29% left for the 2020 budget. So there's quite a bit of money left over there.
Great.
I just want to thank the board. We ordered our jackets, and we already received the ammunition that we took out of that COVID money. So that'll be a great help for us. December was a fairly quiet month motor vehicle wise. We had 64 motor vehicle stops and only 2 summons issued, fines of $186, which was good. It was a slow month. 3 arrests with 13 charges between them, which simple assault, protective custody, reckless operation, reckless conduct, disobeying, a ton of motor vehicle charges on one of them. We had 67 other calls for service that month. Sexual assaults, simple assaults, criminal mischief, narcotics violations, department assist to the fire department, as well as other agencies, citizens assist, civil matters, domestic assaults, sex offender registrations, motor vehicle complaints, suspicious vehicles, and pistol permits. So it was a fairly busy month that way. All our trainings completed for the year, and we have a total of 9 active COVID-19 cases in town. So we've still got a few going in town.
Is that number still accurate? I believe the state said it was at 9 and is now down at 6.
That was 9 as of 7 o'clock this morning.
Okay.
So this could be the last day for a few of them, so that may make it come down to 6.
Are any of these over at the neuro facility?
I don't have any scheduled for there, but I wouldn't trust that they've been reporting everything right.
Steve, do you want to bring everybody up to date on what happened yesterday?
So we lost a police cruiser last night, around 6 o'clock last night. One of our officers was in a motor vehicle accident. He was hit head on by another car that he had tried to pursue earlier after Franklin pursued him and state police pursued him. But the car pulled a U-turn and was on the wrong side of the road and hit the front end of our cruiser. And I'm pretty sure that it's totaled. There's at least $20,000 worth of damage, if not more. So we got to wait for Primex to come take a look at it. But the officer went to the hospital, was checked out, and he is okay. There was 3 people in the other vehicle. One of them received a broken ankle, and the other 2 are still incarcerated, and they will be for a while.
Okay, and Jordan, so I'm so glad that Jordan's okay.
He is good. I've spoken to him a couple of times today. I've spoken to him tonight, so he's doing good.
So Emmett, you were there and suggested he go to the hospital and get checked out, right?
Correct.
Yeah, thank you very much. Really good advice.
Well, we're a team and we look out for each other. So that's what needed to be done. So that's what we did.
So
yeah, the fire department did a fantastic job last night. The rescue squad, they did a great job. Kudos to them and Emmett and his guys.
okay.
I guess my question is, where did this happen?
Almost on Battle Street, almost at the intersection of Battle and Long Street.
Okay.
If you go by there, you'll see the marks in the road still.
Jeez. So what were these people, like out of drunk or just being wise or?
Yeah, the operator we arrested for driving while intoxicated, felony, and we found all kinds of drugs in the car. So the car is at the police station right now. We're doing a search warrant to search the rest of it. I'm sure we're going to find all kinds of things once we get into it.
I'm sure something, because they wouldn't be running if they were just people.
This all started in Woodstock, New Hampshire. So think how far away that is.
Oh my God. Holy crow.
And of course, where do they end up? In our little town.
Yeah.
Quiet
What are
little
the-
town
what are
of
the odds of
Webster, as
that?
Dana says.
Yeah. See, this has all
kudos.
happened since he's come.
Right.
He brought the world to us.
I thought it was a sleepy little place here.
Yeah,
Uh,
it used to be. Oh, it was good. Till about
Well,
August.
Kudos to our police department, that's for sure.
oh,
You
And
thank
never
you.
know
fire
what,
department.
and the fire department. You never know
Yes.
what you guys are gonna do on a call. You know what I mean? I know after writing for the papers for so many years and all, just anything could happen. So, and it usually does. But I'm glad they weren't hurt. At least our police person wasn't hurt.
Maybe we can get him.
Hmm. Okay. Thanks, Steve. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Thank you
You're welcome.
very much. Emmett?
Okay, you want to start with roads?
Sure.
Sure, roads are good. Yeah, December, we started out with some places in town, we got 26 to 30 inches of snow. That was a very interesting night. Back and forth. But we made it. We managed through it. Everything went well. So we got through that, and then we had a couple of them little piddle storms, damned if you do, damned if you don't ones. And then Christmas Day, we had that, yeah, I don't know what you would call it, but
Downpour.
all you needed was a bar of soap and having it backyard shower. But we got through that. We did have a few issues there with leaves in the ditches, and of course the leaves in the ditches and sticks plug up the culverts, and then there's just so much water you couldn't keep up. So we did save a lot of the ditches and roads out, riding the roads, and where you saw something that wasn't just right, you'd get out and rake it out to keep the water in the ditch. So we did have a washout over there on the White Plains Road where a culvert got plugged up, and we ended up going back and getting the fire truck with the high pressure on there to blow the leaves and the frozen stuff that washed into the culvert out, and an issue on the Mutton Road and Winnapocket Road, where it came down out of a driveway, and it was just like a brook bed coming down out of an old logging road and out into the road. So we got that dug out, and I need to talk with a landowner. Actually, he called, and I need to get back a hold of him to get that problem addressed. But one thing that we need to address, and Dee could help us with this with their paper, is the driveway culverts. Driveway culverts under your driveway aren't town maintained. They're maintained by the homeowner. And I think some people are really getting laxed on that. And, we do what we can to help the folks, but there's some things the homeowners have to pay attention to with it if they have a culvert under their driveway, because that is their responsibility. And if the water's coming out of your driveway, or you plow snow across the road and pack the ditch, and the snow comes into that packed snow and comes out of the road and goes down the road, and it's caused by that, them folks are reliable for the damages done to the road. Some people understand that, some people don't. So I think we need to maybe educate maybe some of the new people, and maybe some of the people that have been here for a while that either forgot or just don't care anymore. I don't know what the story is, but there's a lot of that around. And then,
So, Emmett,
yes, my friend.
listen, I was trying to write down as quickly as I could what you just said. I could put on, I could submit to Dee a little notice in the paper for next time saying hopefully what you just said,
Yeah, no, that, yeah,
Oh,
start a
that's
little,
good.
yeah,
Like a
you know,
front page story.
yeah, it is. I mean, especially when it's raining as hard as it was raining Christmas Day. I mean, we started first thing in the morning and got out, and you got all the leaves from the fall. I mean, you can't get all them ditches clean from the time the leaves fall. And so you get the
That's
fall
fair.
away. You just, no matter who you are.
Yeah, we have a culvert on our driveway, and it's not by the road, but it certainly dramatically affects the water that goes to the road. And it was a real bear to clean out this year compared to the previous year, based on all of the leaves and the pine cones and stuff that dropped into it this year that was far more full than previously.
Yeah.
And then there's a few people that done this for years, and it, you know, I mean, they have a nice lawn, a nice front yard, but they rake everything into the ditch. And no, it's not fun. And there's a culvert pipe there, and then it gets plugged up, and then, you know, their problem becomes my problem, and then it's
Mhm.
it's just
A nightmare.
there's a lot of people to deal with, and everybody has a different idea, and
That's true. Well, that'll be a good front page story, really.
yeah, you know, it's
Wow.
just like we haven't done it lately, I don't think, but back, you know, you always would put a thing in the paper when the snow came.
That's right.
Keep the snow, you know, your cars
Yeah.
off the road during a snowstorm. And we used to do that, and then I think we've got away from that the last few years. The winter ordinance should
Yeah.
be in your paper.
Yeah, I have that. I think I have a copy of that, unless we really changed it. But I can.
No, I don't think we have. And, you know, parking in the street,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and, you know, that all helps. And there's a lot of people that read the paper, you know, and
Yes, I know.
And speaking of winter, I would be remiss not to bring this up. There was a major accident that took out and totaled a car because someone did not clear off the top of their vehicle. With
Oh,
the
yeah.
snow.
Right.
That happened. Don't remember which. I think it was Andover, but it was one of our nearby towns where that happened during these storms, and it was rather upsetting to be clearing off snow on my driveway and see somebody in an SUV going down my road with at least 2 feet of snow on top of the car. And this was a couple days later when the snow had compacted into ice, not the fluffy snow that had fallen down. So make sure that you're clearing off your cars when you go drive. It is a state law, and it is actually dangerous.
Megan's law.
and they've been cracking down on that. Channel 9 is really pushing that, the Jessica law. I'm pretty sure that's what that's all about.
Right.
And
Yes.
you know, it's not a bad thing to do.
Emmett, can I ask a question about, I'm sure you've got a really simple answer, but I was studying your report and I noticed that the foreman labor rates change, as do the labor worker rates. And I'm wondering what makes them change so dramatically?
Dramatically, I mean, like in $5 or $10 an hour difference. What
I don't know. I mean, some labor worker rates say $225 and some say over $1,000. And
you add up the hours that
that's what I figured. So it's an hourly thing.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
an hour.
You're
Okay.
looking at a total of the hours, not what the
Okay.
actual rate is.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
So-
there's a flat rate, which we've had for quite a while. And then if the labor worker, I mean, if you have 3 guys or 3 labor workers during a snowstorm and they each work 10 hours, then that adds up to 30 hours labor worker, and then the foreman will be like 10. And then the labor worker is going to be more during a snowstorm because you got 3 and 4
Got it.
people
Got it.
out there in your vehicles or
Okay. Yeah.
equipment.
Yep. The thing that threw me was the word rate, because there's not really a rate. It's more like pay.
No, there's a rate. There's a rate for the road agent, the foreman, and then
Yeah,
there's
you're
rate
seeing the
for
total pay though. That's
I
correct.
know. Right. Now I understand. I'm looking at the total pay instead of the rate.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's fine. That's the only thing that threw me.
Yeah. No,
So-
anytime you have any questions, I mean, I can take care of that for you.
And I went by Dustin Road today, and boy, there is nothing left of that house on Dustin.
Yeah, no, when I do a job, Susie and I do a job, we take pride in what we do and we do it right.
Yeah. Thank you. Sorry. So I interrupted your flow there. Did you want to say anything more about your report here?
Oh, I think I'm good with the highway report. That was the month of December, unless any of you folks have any questions on what else we did.
That's the only question I have, really.
A lot of times, the way the sun works now compared to when we were kids, it will be icy first thing in the morning, and then so you watch it, and then come 10 o'clock, if you go sanding, the sun comes up, and then the sand melts through the ice. So, I mean, that's a game. I shouldn't say a game, but that's part of the game that you have to play, is where I'm going to about sanding the roads where the sun gets so hot. So then you wait until the afternoon. So, and it's like right now, I checked all the dirt roads this morning and all my roads, because I usually have to pick up 2 or 3, some days more than that, dump from the weekend when people go to the transfer station down Bashan Hollow and Garish and Tyler Road and Deer Meadow. There's always a truckload of dump to pick up that blew out of somebody's pickup.
Jeez.
But like today, if the dirt roads are really in good shape. Some of them are the ice is hard. So if you did sand it, it wouldn't stick to it. It would just blow off the next time you came through. So, you know, you just have to play it by ear how all that works. And it is winter, and but the back roads are in pretty good shape as we speak. So
Yeah.
Speaking of sand, I know that you were working feverishly at the end of the year to make sure that we were getting our sand supply in and stocked up. Have we gotten all of the sand that you paid for now, or is there still more to be picked up at some point?
No, there is more to be picked up. It is all screened and it is all piled in the pit in Warner. So if we need more sand through the winter, it's all there and it's available. And then if we don't, it will be a stockpile towards next winter's sand. But no, there's still quite a pile. There must be probably 1,500 yards still in the pit over to Warner that needs to be hauled back to the sand shed when there's room there.
Okay.
Mhm. So do you want to move on to the fire department?
If you guys are all good with the highway, I'd love to.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so we finished the year out with 211 calls. Last year, 2019 would have been 181. So we were up some calls. We were up some calls this year compared to last year. We've got some real well-qualified people there at the firehouse that have joined here in the last year, some more. We voted 2 new members on just the other night, Wednesday night, and we have 2 more that want to get voted on, and we're waiting to get their references and their background checks back from the police. December, I kind of laid off the meetings and the trainings at the firehouse because of Thanksgiving and everybody together with a COVID. And then our meetings are on a Wednesday night, and of course, Christmas Eve is on a Thursday night, a Friday night, or whatever, and Christmas is on a Friday and all that. So we laid off the meetings and the trainings on the month of December, but we're going to meet at the firehouse on Wednesday nights for the folks that want to come. And there's still a lot of people that want to get together and do our training and our truck checks and our meetings. And then there's some people that aren't really into it, so they're just going to stay home or do their own thing. But we'll be continuing our training at the firehouse on Wednesday nights, and unless this really takes toll, I meet with Steve and Phil either on Monday or Tuesday mornings, and we had our Monday morning meeting today, and that seems to work real well. Being involved with each other there for a half an hour to an hour each Monday morning, and talking about things that's going on in town. So we've been doing that for a while now, and I feel that the police department and the fire department, and I'm going to involve the highway as well. I don't think we've worked this close in, it's been years, 25 years. I don't think we've worked as close as we are in this past year. And I really hope that can continue.
Good. I hope so too. Emmett, as you were telling us all this stuff, do we have that in the form of a report anywhere? Because the only thing I'm seeing is the Webster Firehouse report from December 20th.
Yeah, no, December 20th. No, I sent one out Monday, sent one out Sunday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, over the weekend. I updated December's report.
There's a copy of December 2020 Firehouse Detail Monthly Report sitting in the SharePoint.
That's what I'm looking at. It begins 12/2/2020 and it ends 12/31/2020.
Okay, that was the breakdown of the calls.
Mm-hmm.
There should be a sheet that went along with that.
I don't see that.
There was an email that was sent out yesterday or earlier, something like
10th,
that.
on the 10th.
Yeah,
Oh.
so yesterday then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yesterday I sat down and did that stuff up the highway report in the firehouse report.
Okay.
I didn't go into details about the members and different things that had voted on that monthly report, but because I figured I'd just talk to you about that on this. So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I didn't see it. So
all the trucks are everything's supposed to be where it's at. I have been working with Chris Champagne. I've got oodles of stuff here. Chris Champagne is the salesman for the E1 fire apparatus, where we're building the folks that have built our new fire truck on paper with the engineers and all that. So I've got updated stuff on all that.
So Emmett, I didn't receive that report, and I think that sometimes I just don't get things.
Well, Dana said when I talked to Dana today, he said that he sent that same report out.
It was sent to C. Shadler at webster.gov.
And we just sent it.
You are on the same email that I got. So.
And we just sent it again.
When was that sent? I'm looking through my email.
Yesterday, 12:09 p.m. Well, she looks.
And we just sent it again.
Perfect.
Okay, good.
While she looks for that, Emmett, I'd like to give you an opportunity to share what happened just recently with the ambulance and why it's important that you're able to do what you do with the ambulance.
Okay, so last night we had quite a thing that happened in town. So of course, when we get toned out to a motor vehicle accident, now that we have our extrication tools on engine 3, but I still have the Salisbury Rescue on the run cards for their heavy rescue to come help. We work real close with Salisbury. So last night when I got on the scene of the motor vehicle accident, we didn't need the extrication tools. So what I do is if we don't need them tools, I'll cancel the Salisbury truck. And in the meanwhile, the Hopkinton ambulance, which is our primary transport, they were at Concord Hospital. They were en route to Concord Hospital with another call. So the Salisbury folks said, well, you don't need our rescue. You want us to come down with our ambulance for the first patient? And I said, yeah, that would work real well. So they came down. Of course, this is all going through fire alarm through the chain of command. And so they have Salisbury come down with their ambulance and took the first patient. Well, then we had 2 sign-offs. And then one of the sign-offs, which was Jordan, we ended up taking him to the hospital. So the Webster ambulance sat there with licensed personnel. So instead of calling another ambulance in from Pennycook to take Jordan, our ambulance is sitting there licensed and, like I said, personnel. So we took Jordan to the hospital in our ambulance and took care of him. And so there's a bill that you won't be getting to give to Primex for $1,200 or $1,500 to take Jordan to the hospital. So see, that's where our ambulance came into play right there.
Good. I mean, and that's really the perfect circumstance, right? Because Jordan didn't have any, thank God, life-threatening situation. And so, you could get that done.
And even if he did, we still could have got it done with our people and their education and our ambulance.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no,
Okay.
we had paramedics. We had 2 paramedics out of our department there last night on the scene.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, it went well.
Good.
Yeah, all reasons why we continue to afford the license to transport for our in-town ambulance.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And actually, we transported the other day a longtime resident of Webster to Concord Hospital with our ambulance because both Hopkinton ambulances were on calls in their own town. And the Pennycook Rescue, which serves the town of Bosquen, was on a call in Bosquen. So we transported with our ambulance. So that saved us from having New London or Franklin come to Webster to transport this person to Concord Hospital. So it was a Saturday. Actually, we had 2 paramedics, I think, that day, and 3 or 4 EMTs. And we transported to Concord Hospital. That was like a month or so ago as well with our ambulance.
Good.
Do we get paid for that, right, Emmett? Do you bill the people, or does somebody bill the people in the town of Webster gets that money, or the fire department or somebody?
No, the billing, that's why we really don't transport, only when we really have to, because the billing is all set up through a billing agency, and you have to be all set up with that. It's quite a to-do.
So basically we're giving them free transport to the hospital, right? Is that what you're trying to
Well,
say?
we don't, right. Well, yes, yeah, it's a long time resident,
Yeah,
and Jordan is
no, he's an employee.
is
So
an
no, I
employee
know
of the
how that
town,
works.
but I mean, we don't do this every day,
Yeah,
but we can if we have to. And I can look into to see what it's all about to bill that out. So I really don't want to get into the transport part of it. I want to
Yeah.
be able to do it because we can, but during the day, you know, you need 2 licensed people to transport, and I don't really want to get into it unless we really, really have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that's what I just didn't know. I mean, medical papers to me drive you nuts, but other than that, filling all that out.
It's not as easy as coming back and saying to Dana or myself sitting at the desk at the firehouse and writing out a bill to such and such a person at such and such an address for a ride to Concord Hospital in the Webster ambulance.
Yeah, right. No, it's all
because of
medical.
all this insurance, and it's a billing company that bills for all the ambulance services that go into Concord Hospital.
Really? Wow.
Oh yeah, it's one billing company that does it all.
They're making a few bucks.
Well, yeah,
Okay. Well, I just was wondering about that.
sure. And I can look into it some more,
Yeah. Well, don't.
see what it does take.
I would be curious to see what it would take to do that in the future. Just because if we can, without breaking our backs, recoup some of the costs
Oh,
to
no,
help
and
make sure that it stays, you know, trained and all set to do that transport, that would be good.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to, I mean, knowing that there is definitely tons of overhead for things like that, it's also perfectly sensible to expect that if we're only transporting a couple times a year, it's not going to be worth it. So
Yeah, and
I'd be
that's
curious to see what that is and where that breakdown would be. But that would be, I guess, my only question for the future.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, anything else, Emmett?
No, no, things are going well at the firehouse, and yeah, I think we're good unless anybody else has any questions.
Okay, Dana, did you resend me Emmett's report? Because if you did, I didn't get it again.
I sent it to you this morning, Chris. I can't send it to you right now, but
That's fine. That's fine.
I
I
just
just didn't.
I
I
can
didn't-
send it to you. Yeah.
Okay, great. I don't
Yeah,
know
and
why
we-
I'm not getting stuff.
Is it the fire one or the highway or both that you want?
It's the fire one.
All right, 1 second.
So
Because I got it.
well, I know, Dee. I just
Yeah.
didn't get.
I wonder
know,
if it puts it in your trash or something, you know, automatically. Because I get stuff that
All right,
gets
Chris, I
dumped.
just forwarded it to you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. Got it. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Dave. That solves the whole problem.
So I guess while I'm here, before I hang up, the property on Mount Vernon, do you want to talk about that right quick, or you're going to save that for later?
Did we, Dana, did we get the third estimate in today?
Yes. You have 3 proposals.
Okay, then I guess we're going to talk about it, you know, toward the end of the evening. I guess it's not on the the agenda.
Okay,
So-
well, no, I can talk to Dana about it tomorrow.
Oh,
Ooh,
Yeah, I just, if I'm gonna do it, I want to get it done because it's not gonna be fun if you get any more snow. It's
Yeah.
not gonna be feasible to do, get another
Right.
6 inches of snow on
So do you,
top of that. So in the other estimates that you get, I'm gonna ask when you get them or whoever gets the job to see the certificate of their insurance for general liability.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
Thank
that
you.
makes perfect sense for us to be doing.
Well, I have to have it, so,
Mhm.
and I'm insurance poor, so.
okay,
We'll talk tomorrow, Emmett.
Okay, thank you.
okay. Mike, welcome.
You're muted, Nick.
You're muted.
There we go.
Chris.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
good. So we wanted to talk about town meeting and what your thoughts were about how to get that done.
Yep. So a couple of things on it. We had a meeting. I met with Sarah and Nancy last Thursday just to talk about what our thinking was that we're equipped to do successfully, and what our thinking was relative to all of the various provisions that are in executive orders and laws. And we were sort of holding out for, there's a Senate Bill 2 that was pending. It's a different Senate Bill 2 than the one that has, the change in the type of town meeting. And so we're sort of holding hope out that that would provide towns with more options. It passed the Senate unanimously, 24-0, but it got stalled in the House. And even though the House is saying that they're going to do their best to sort of move it along, there's no promise that that bill is going to pass and give us any more relief in time to be able to take action. So that forced us back to looking at HB 1129 and the other executive orders to figure out what the best thing to do going forward is. And so I think we just have to work together to figure out what the governing body wants to see the legislative body do relative to the way we meet. And a couple of things that I would just share with you is that our feeling is that running an election, so actually having people show up on March 9th and cast ballots, that is sort of like, that would be our third go round of voting in that style. And we're good at that. We have that down to a science. I think anybody who participated in voting on either the New Hampshire primary or the general election in November knows that we have the capacity to carry off that election and to do that well. Where we are left scratching our heads is on town meeting. So in Webster, we hold the election on the 9th, and then we recess until Saturday, where we have the business portion of the meeting. And none of us see having a meeting inside the town hall. Our feeling is that that would not be safe to do at this point. Even with vaccines becoming available, they're not enough people are not going to be vaccinated to want to safely participate in traditional town meeting. We talked about the provisions in the law that allow, you can do 2 Zoom meetings like this and then hold a drive-by voting session. But our feeling is that that doesn't match Webster character, that we think people in Webster value coming together and being able to participate in the traditional town meeting, and that it is probably better to pick a date later in the spring that we can have an outside meeting.
Right.
There is a provision in the law that allows us to meet outside of town. So, for example, the school district had offered to us the high school in Pennacook, which meets the requirements of the law. We could move there. There are some extra hurdles. So, for example, the select board would be responsible for providing transportation for anybody who wished to have transportation to the meeting. And so, there are some extra hurdles in order to make that work. And we're just not sure that those extra hurdles outweigh holding it in town in a safe format. Now, our feeling is that the elementary school doesn't gain us anything. The gym at the elementary school is no larger than town hall, so there's no benefit to going there. So we're really looking at an outside meeting on the soccer field. And I would propose that we take an approach similar to what we did with an outside graduation at Campbell High School this past year. And that is that we simply spray painted boxes on the on the field, and you can number the boxes, and you can have families sign up for a numbered box. And so then you have people within the same germ pool who are showing up, who don't have to be 6 feet apart. They can all sit in the box together, bring their chairs, sit in the box, and then we can hold the meeting that way. So, you distance by 6 feet the various boxes all across the field, but we could easily accommodate on the soccer field the number of people that we typically have at a town meeting. So that's our suggestion, is that we try to follow that format. People would have to mask as they walk to the box, but once they were inside the box and staying in the box, masks would not be required because they would be outside and physically distanced from others. A couple of things we want to think about. We got to get the timing right, so it can't be too hot or too cold. And I know that with the fact that we're already into the budget that we haven't adopted yet at this sitting means the later we go, the more problematic that gets. So really trying to time that out, and to pick a time to do that would be important. And then I think we want to think about whether we do an evening meeting or a Saturday meeting, relative to actually holding the meeting outside. Somebody brought up the field is lit, but the lit field in May is going to attract a few bugs. So, we want to think our way through some of these things in terms of trying to decide how we want to proceed with town meeting. And then I guess the only other thing that Chris and I had an earlier conversation just about, it's keeping the warrant as tight and short as possible, because, the bigger the warrant, the more the discussion can sort of stray on that. If we were talking about a bond vote, for example, that's a hurdle, right? So trying to keep the warrant to be kind of smaller this year, knowing that we're going to have a different sort of meeting. So that's what I'm bringing forward as sort of our thinking at the current time. And I'd be happy to take questions or have people react to what I just said with ideas or thoughts on it.
I think your thoughts about Webster wants to be involved in town meeting, and I think the soccer field's a great idea.
Yeah, I think that's really good. If we aimed for late April, possibly before bugs really begin to blossom, I think people don't mind bundling up. I love the idea of families being able to sit together, or what do they call them? Balloon groups balloon groups, social groups of people who have been ballooning together, or whatever that's called. I think we should be able to get some kind of energy out to the field, correct? I don't know if the field is equipped with any electricity out there other than the lights above. I don't like the idea of doing it at night. I would like to have it during the same time that we normally do. But is there any energy out on that field?
So I would have to go down and take a look to see if there's a plug. I mean, there are lights, there's electricity to the pole that has light on it. So
Right.
whether we could tap into that or if we would have to rely on a generator, a couple of things we would need to think about a sound system out there so that we
That's
can,
what I'm
Yeah, you
thinking.
have to, right?
Right.
and then what kind of a setup do we want for a podium kind of area, right? So we just have to think about that, but that's all doable, and it would not be great expense to take that on.
Mhm.
I will say for the outlets, we do have normal outlets at the solar array. I don't know 100% if they are outputting normally during non-solar times or not, but we definitely have them. So if it's a daylight meeting, it would be no problem pulling power from there.
Good.
I'm
So
just,
Mike,
can we get the school? We could plug into the school, I think, if we have to, with long extension cords or something
Yeah,
like
we could
that.
do that too. Yeah.
Because generators make so much noise.
Yeah.
That's true. That is true, Dee. So if you set up so that the stage was sort of, well, I was joking actually that we could put the stage up on the leach field, which is sort of an elevation.
That's right. I was thinking that
But-
too, Mike.
There are too many jokes that would be made about the select board sitting up on the.
Oh, it would be hilarious. Bring it on.
We can take it. We're big people.
So
Steve?
Mike, I mean, they could probably put one of Emmett's loader trailers out there and they could sit up on top of that. And for the bug season, I mean, it'd be worth a few dollars to have them spray. And they can spray for the mosquitoes and the ticks and everything. I had it done at my house and I cannot believe I had absolutely zero mosquitoes and ticks. And it's non-toxic. It works great. And I don't think
that's
it's that
good.
expensive.
How long is it effective, Steve?
That said, it's good. One spray was good for the whole summer.
Okay.
Yeah, don't believe the non-toxic stuff.
Well, they said it was. We could let our dogs right out in it after 24
sure.
hours and everything. But if they spray the outside perimeter, that'll keep everything away, I believe.
Birds and other humans. Yeah.
As long as we're all safe.
So is that like,
Right.
I would say, because I don't think going to Pennacook for the school would be, I don't think it's worth it. I'd
No.
rather see us in town. So we can
I would agree.
eliminate anything
Yeah.
but like in the soccer field. I think that's my idea anyway.
I really
But-
think as much as this works well for people who are accustomed to it, we have too many people who want to participate that are
Yeah.
not comfortable with this format or don't have access. And I don't want to disenfranchise anybody. This is the one chance a year for people to come out and have their voice heard. And I think we bend over backwards to make that work. And,
Yeah.
And you guys, you did a great job with the voting and all that stuff this year. All the stuff that we had to do. You and your crew did a wonderful job. I was really impressed.
Well, thank you. And it was mostly the crew, but I can see Michelle has just popped in behind Dana there. And so really, it was a total team effort to make that work. I said to Sarah that we could even, if we had to do a ballot vote, for example, you could borrow the basket from church and have, the people walk around and they drop,
right.
they drop this, so you can keep your 6 foot distance with a long stick and just have people drop their ballot in and collect them. I mean, there are ways to make this work very quickly and very efficiently.
Tonight on the news, they were talking about the rollout of the vaccinations and that kind of thing. And I think that the next group that is going to be vaccinated is going to be the 75 and older gang. And I know that there's a lot of citizens in Webster that are of that age group. It may be a good idea, to wait until the end part of April, early May anyway, to see how many of us can get vaccinated too. That would ease the situation, I think.
We just looked at it's group 2A, I think, and that's exactly the age group. It also includes educators in that group. And they are beginning in March and ending in May. So you're right. I would predict that a good chunk of people in that age bracket and profession will be have their shots by the end of April. Although I don't know if that's both shots or one shot. And now they're saying that there's a time period after the second shot in order for it to be effective. So, it's just all that. We still have to follow precautions.
We do.
Right, exactly.
We do.
Chris, Michelle has a question.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi. Mine would be more if people wanted to come and sit in their cars. If any, I don't know, at Christmas when you drive by some people's houses and they have the lights and you just tune to a radio station, and I don't know if anyone knows further about that, if somebody was interested, whether they can't access the field in some way due to a handicap or walking, if they wanted to remain in their cars, if that would be worth looking into, is somehow tuning to the radio station. I don't know anything about that, but if you can do it for a household with their Christmas lights, maybe it's something that's doable.
Half decent FM transmitters like that are a couple $100. So you
that's
could absolutely
something to keep in
consider
mind.
doing that.
Yeah.
It's fairly common in one of my hobbies, which is RC racing, where that'll happen so that no matter where people are in tents and pit spaces, they're able to hear what's going on with the races and not miss theirs. So pretty common. I don't
mean, I don't know how
we
it
have
would
any around through rescue or not for other reasons, or other people that in town that do racing of other types may or may not have something like this available that we could borrow. But it's a few $100 to get one that's half decent, that should be able to plug into the PA and at least broadcast to the field and right around the field.
Good.
So, Mike, you know, I'm encouraged about what you all have in mind. I like the idea of using the field.
I guess the question would be, and I want to just verify this, but my read of HB 1129 is that the governing body can select that date and publish it on the warrant. So instead of publishing that it's going to be the Saturday after March 9th, whatever date that is, and then having us follow a delay process, you know, we could pick the date now and just notice people of what that is. And then I think you've got to think about the transfer of offices, which, and actually looking at Michelle, she's more familiar with that part of the RSA, but we're going to have one or two new select board members, I think. And so when do they take office? Do they take office?
after the business meeting.
So they have to wait for that business meeting. So,
Well, I think I would want to explore it, because I think if there's no contest in the race, that it can be after the recount, or although there wouldn't be a recount. So I would just want to research it and confirm that. But I know I don't swear anyone in until after the recount and the business meeting has been adjourned.
so if the business meeting gets delayed to late April or May, that's something to think about, just in terms of that procedural piece. But otherwise, holding the business meeting, my read of it is that we can pick that date and post that date on the warrant. And then if we come into, you know, bad weather on that day and we need to postpone, we can follow the postponing procedures from there. But there's no need to post it for March if our intent is to hold it in April. I believe we can pick the date and post that.
That's a good idea. Plus, I wonder if you could pick a rain date too and post both of them.
Yeah, we'd need a rain date or a mud season date.
Or some bad weather days.
Yeah.
So I guess that my question would be, since we just brought up the whole FM thing and people in cars, the New Hampshire legislature right now has been doing meetings in cars and getting out to speak at a microphone and doing the broadcast via FM. So is there a particular reason that we would not be able to do something like that at the normal time? We do have a fairly large set of parking lots with both our town building and the school across the street. And being that it would still be a frozen season, in theory, we could ask somebody like Emmett to clear the or at least flatten the soccer field in order to allow people to go on that in an orderly manner.
I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to do that. We still get really big snowstorms in March. And I also don't want to take any chance of screwing up the soccer field. I don't know. That's just.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that either. There's a lot of money into that soccer field.
I think we can wait. There's going to be towns all over the state that are going to be waiting. So
I think if we envision the select board sort of on the loop, and then we can make a voter who wants to participate and is handicapped can pull their car into that loop, so they we know who's in there, they're participating in the meeting, and then everybody else is out on the field, because they are going to have to check in. They're going to have to be checked in by the supervisors so that we know they're registered voters in order to participate. There'll have to be some way of knowing who's in the field. So I think we can accommodate both, but I personally don't see the car thing across the board, and I don't see us having enough space. It's too, it feels too fractured. I think the legislature, and by the way, they're saying, well, on the moderator's listserv, they're just saying that was a disaster and it did not go the way they thought that it was going to. So, and
I heard from Carrie Lett Alisay about that too. So she wasn't happy with that meeting.
And we don't have a lot like Durham does. I mean, that lot in Durham holds thousands of cars. You know, we don't have that kind of space. So I think really the boxes on the field with people bringing their lawn chairs or blankets to it, because it saves us hauling equipment over there and trying to set everything up. People will come prepared and it will work out pretty well. They can sign up in advance. We can, you know, measure and paint the boxes on the field. And then in the loop for anybody who's unable to do that. So I think it kind of covers all the bases.
I think that's a great idea.
I'm trying to think, the public safety building doesn't really get us anything either. You can't put that many cars up in that lot. So
Not really.
there really isn't a lot in town that would hold. I mean, what are we talking? 150 people that like to come to this? I just can't see the lot. That.
Not big enough.
No.
So do you think that we can wait until the end of January before we set a date?
Dana, what is your what's your deadline to post the warrant? When does the warrant need to be?
February 22nd.
So we have until February 22nd, I think, to decide. And you know, I appreciate that we're having the conversation early January. This is really helpful. We will let me talk further with Michelle and Sarah, and we'll offer a couple of suggestions for dates. It sounds like the feeling is a Saturday is better than an evening.
Yeah.
If we stick with Saturday, we'll propose a couple of Saturdays and rain dates so that we can kind of publish all that. And you know, if we could get it in before April vacation, the school vacation week, because we'll lose people on around there. So we want to make sure that we see when we find the time that works.
When's that, Mike? The end of April?
Yeah, it should be the last week of April.
Last week of April, yeah.
So maybe the third week, the third Saturday, possibly. Okay, well, good.
Excuse me, please. This is John Pearson. I'd like to give you another idea for a location on this.
Please.
Okay.
It's just my opinion. This soccer field is not a good idea. If you happen to get a lot of rain in April, which is typical, just the foot traffic on that field could do a horrendous amount of damage to that field. I really think if you hold this right behind the school, put the podium on the soccer, right in the basketball court, you're right close to electricity. You could have all the people out there in the playground, right out towards the baseball field. I think you got plenty of room out there for people to sit. You're not gonna do any damage to that soccer field. I think it'd be a better location. You're right close to electricity. You got a good blacktop place for the selectmen to sit. Good place right there, in my opinion. And you're not going to do any damage to that soccer field.
Yeah, it's a real good idea.
And in theory, if we needed to overload, like beyond that number of people in spaces, the back section there of the baseball field, well, yes, you could still damage that if it's the mud season issue. It would be less of a challenge to repair it because it would be a smaller percentage. But secondly, that is higher ground than the soccer field, so it won't be as muddy. So you won't do as much damage. So that's a good idea.
I just think it's a lot better location myself.
Yeah, thank you, John. Emmett?
We do. I mean, we didn't last year because of COVID, but look at the thousands of gallons of water we pour on that in an hour for all them the children at the school, the last day of school with a fire truck. I mean, we put thousands of gallons of water on that baseball field out there where John's talking, and that doesn't hurt it at all. It runs right off. And I think John might have a good idea there where wheelchairs and stuff out behind the school, what do they call that? Where the basketball hoops and stuff is. That's good thinking.
Good.
I appreciate it, John. I'm going to go down and take a look. But I think you could be right with the amount of real estate available to us there, right? So it'll be fairly similar to spread out. And it is more of a mix of hot top and grass and wood chips. So that may work out very well back there. Thanks, John.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Good. Okay. Well, Mike, keep in touch.
I absolutely will. We'll be in touch. We'll let you know what happens as it unfolds, and we'll keep our eye on February 22nd as our we need to know date.
Perfect.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. Have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
Okay. So let's see our agenda. Oh, so Steve, you're still here.
I am.
Good. So let's look at your police holiday pay policy. Dave and Dee, did you have a chance to read that?
Yep.
Great. So I thought it was pretty clear, Steve, the way that you wrote it.
I tried to make it as simple as possible. And if you notice, there's one personal holiday that I deleted because there's no need to pick a personal holiday that you're going to pay somebody extra for.
Right. Thank you.
There's no need to.
Mm-hmm. I think that when we put that in there, we were thinking about somebody not from the police department, but rather,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I did not want to include that.
Yeah. Okay.
And of course, we're going to try and get the part-timers to fill in as many of the holidays as possible.
Right. Okay. I need to get out of all this stuff. So D or
You want a motion? You want a
Well-
motion on that?
if there's no more discussion,
Oh, okay. I have no questions. Cut and dried to me.
Dave, however, always has one more question.
No, it looks good. I asked the questions when we asked to make the policy.
We should declare today some kind of a national event. Oh my God. Yeah, okay, Deke, you go ahead and make a motion then.
Okay, I make a motion that we accept the policy for the police department for pay on hours worked during town holidays. Is that the only thing? Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
Dave seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for providing that. There's something else we need to do. We need to approve Michelle Tremblay as the deputy treasurer.
Oh,
Yes, I did see those emails.
Yeah, we had a Nancy Cummings sent in a letter of resignation, more or less. And so Dana, do I have to move to accept that letter of resignation?
I read from the RSA that the deputy treasurer shall be appointed by the town treasurer with the approval of the board with the select board. So I guess I would interpret that to do a motion and we'd be sure that you approved it.
Okay. Well, then I would move to approve Michelle Tremblay as our new deputy treasurer.
Good.
Second.
can I have
Sorry.
one question?
Yes.
Is Michelle a permanent resident in town now? She must, if she's
She
gonna
is.
apply. Okay, okay.
She is.
Just to have a place in Bosquen too. That's the only reason I asked.
And I also just as an aside here, I wrote to her this afternoon and asked her if she had any relevant experience. And she does. She has a surprising amount of experience handling expenses. And she was treasurer of some committee over in Boscawen for a number of years. And
Yeah, the Pennacook Bosco
Water district. Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, she's a very smart woman. So
Yeah. Oh, I don't debate that. So
yeah,
So,
Emmett,
I have a question. I don't know any of these people, and it doesn't matter if I did, but I was just curious. Do we do a criminal background check on somebody that's gonna do that position, or or not? I mean, if somebody joins the firehouse, we have to, we do that criminal background in a driving record. I mean, you don't need a driving record in this case because nobody's going to be driving a vehicle that belongs to the town, but do we do one of them or not, or maybe, or have we
Steve?
done it in the past, or
yeah, that's a good question. Steve?
As far as I know, any town employee that we've hired, we've done a background on.
well, are we are they on the payroll, or is it volunteer, or I mean,
Does
how's
this
that work?
count as employee? That would be much like, and I'm hopeful that Michelle is still around. This would be much like the deputy clerk in that it is appointed by an elected official. So it's
Mhm.
not technically an employee of town, even though they do get stipend pay.
Well, by the people on the fire department aren't employees of the town.
True.
So what is your point, Dave?
Well, my question would be to Michelle, like, do we have to do that, and or do we do that with, for example, the deputy clerk as well? Because this should be handled in the same way.
Well, let's ask her.
Do they do a background check? That's what he, asked.
Not from prior experience, no. They just have to be a registered voter.
Yeah, I don't think that's included in the RSA on that for elected officials.
Well, that's not even.
Well, but she's not elected, though. She wouldn't be
Yeah, but
elected.
she's being appointed by an elected, she's not being hired by the town per se.
Right.
Yep.
However, I mean, it's a curious question, and I certainly could talk to council about it.
Well,
I honestly, it's a good question. The first time I've heard of it on a point.
Well, you have to protect yourself. I mean, it's not, I mean.
Oh, I
it-
agree with you, Emmett. Yeah, I get it. I get
This
it.
lady here is probably as honest as the day is long, but the next person,
right.
the next person, I was just curious.
Yeah.
No, that's a good question. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Michelle
because
said
it
it's
isn't
not
the,
been done in the past, but maybe I can check with other towns as well, see what they do.
My thought there would have to be some type of policy stating that if that was
Right.
to happen
Mm,
for
right.
this position or any other appointed.
So you're not singling someone out.
Mhm.
Oh, we have to do it at the firehouse.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good question, Emmett. That's a really good question.
I mean, somebody joins the fire department that moves in from Pennsylvania, New York, or another town down. The people in charge are looking out for the town. I mean, you just don't want to have somebody join the firehouse and then bring them in, and I don't want them wandering through your house on a medical call or a fire call if they have itchy fingers, you know.
Yeah. True.
and where this is a position that has to do with the town's money, I think that it would be a really good idea, actually, to have a policy here where the treasurer and the deputy both have background checks. I don't remember if Bruce had one.
Well, I don't think that you
elected, I
can
think.
require an
Oh, he's
elected
elected.
official.
Right, right,
Rather.
right. So,
And,
Right,
and
you don't
that's
have-
where this gets interesting, because like an elected official can't be required to have that. So you, me, Bruce, etc., can't be required to pass a background check to take
Right.
the job. The voters get to decide whether they get to take the job. Employees are already bound by policy that we have it set up that we have the right to do that. This is neither. This is an appointment. So this is kind of like us appointing D to the select board, in that it's like an elected position, but people haven't actually elected them. So that would be an interesting thing to look at for policy. And I think that the way I would like to handle this, because I don't want to unnecessarily delay things, but I'd want to make sure we do it right, is I would like to, let's see, let me make sure I've got the full name accurate here. I would like to make the motion to.
well, wait a minute. There's a motion already on the,
Oh, sorry.
so maybe we want to amend that motion.
Okay. So I would move to amend the motion to accept the appointment of Michelle Tremblay as put forth by Bruce Johnson for deputy treasurer by the treasurer, under the condition that either we should not be looking at a background check or they pass said background check.
I would second that.
And
Dave, would you please repeat that?
certainly, it might not be word for word though.
Okay, well, just so I can get the gist of it. Thank you.
To approve Michelle Tremblay as appointed by Bruce Johnson for deputy treasurer as appointed by the treasurer, under the condition that either we should not seek a background check or she passes said background check. That way, once you find out, we won't need to reconvene in order to take care of that business.
Good idea.
Yes, this is Tara Gunnagle calling. I was wondering if I could ask a quick question.
Please.
When is
well,
the,
Dave, I would remind you that it's up to me. Okay.
I wasn't specifically talking to anybody.
I know, Tara, but I'm the one that recognizes you, whether you can speak or not, but go ahead.
Oh, that's fine, because
It has to do with this.
yes, I just wanted to ask, when is the treasurer's term up? Do we vote on treasurer this spring?
No, 2023.
2023, I'm told by Michelle.
Okay, so if the deputy treasurer doesn't pass the background check and you've already hired, well, you've already let her be appointed, what happens?
Well, we're not letting her get appointed if she doesn't pass the background check.
Okay, because the wording on that motion was a little confusing to me. The end part of it was a little confusing me about, whether she takes,
Gotcha.
does the background check or whether she passes it.
So the short version is right now we don't know if she has to or should go through a background check.
Right.
And the way that I made the motion was so that if it's appropriate for her to take the background check, she's required to pass it in order to accept, in order to be appointed.
Okay.
If she's not required to go through a background check, then she's appointed because that's the way it's supposed to work.
Okay. Now, are treasurers bonded?
Tara, we want to get through this. So I'm not sure what the purpose is. Where are you going with this?
Sure that my tax money goes, is safe in town. That's all. I just, I'm bonded working for the post office. I've had to do background checks. And I think that somebody that handles the money for the town of Webster, I'm asking questions about whether they should have background checks or be bonded.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna look into,
I
all
can
of
answer
that.
that. The treasurer is bonded.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
thanks, Dana. Okay, so you have the motion now, Dana?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, can you read it again?
Oh, I was hoping you weren't going to ask me to. And I didn't probably get all the words as Dave did, but motion to accept the appointment of Michelle Tremblay as deputy treasurer as appointed by Bruce Johnson, the treasurer, under the conditions that if it is necessary to pass a background check, that will happen. I'm going to reword that.
Okay,
And if not, it's not. Am I close?
well, okay, yeah, so if it's, okay, yeah, so that, the end of that needs a little bit of tweaking.
Well, it's a
So-
lot of words, yeah.
Yeah, so she's approved unless she needs a background check, and then she needs to pass the background check. If she doesn't need to pass the background check, then she's approved. And I just got a message from somebody saying that he knows that she does not need to have a background check. And that person is Bruce. So he says, Michelle is not an employee. I'm elected. She's appointed. No background check. I think we should check anyway. I think that it's a good idea. It's good practice to check.
I would agree,
Yeah.
but we have our motion and I believe you seconded it.
Yes, I'm trying to second it. I'm trying to get there. So do you think you can massage the end of that a little bit so it's a little smoother?
I would be glad to.
Okay, great. So, yeah, so it's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Okay. Let's see. All right. So let's see, where do we go from here?
You want to do the budget or do you want to do the credit card policy?
Yeah, we need to do that, and Tara is here. I don't want to hold Tara to actually, I think what I would like to do is just give Tara the floor for a couple of minutes and see what's up.
Oh, thank you. I just wanted to, I was listening to the board minutes of December 28th. And it came up about my correspondence with Bianca. And I had, all the Christmas rush and everything at work, I had forgotten to give you copies of the email back and forth for a question about the town-owned property. I wanted to make sure that you had all gotten that letter.
Yeah.
That I did drop it off. And
I did receive it. Thank you.
Oh, okay, thank you. And I wanted to confirm, because at a previous meeting where I had spoken about the deed and who signed it and who didn't, Chris, you had stated that, well, first you had stated that Bianca wasn't there, that she was sick or that she didn't want to sign it, but I just wanted to,
No.
I'm not going to argue about anything. I just want to mention a couple of lines that she had written, because I had asked about the lots being sold to a private party that I had heard it in September on the selectmen meeting. And I couldn't find any minutes anywhere regarding the property. And now I know why, because it was in a private session. And I had stated to Bianca that there was a selling of properties policy. And I was a little perplexed about the sale and the meeting. So she had mentioned to me that this had been brought up to us recently and she had not had an opportunity to look back. As far as Bianca has seen, the minutes were sealed. Why? Not actually sure. The minutes do not reflect conversation, but just a vote which shows an aye from myself, Chris, and Nancy Schofield. I have checked the deed since I wasn't in favor of this motion, and the only two signatures on there are Nancy's and Chris's. I was, however, in attendance to that work session, non-public, and the general session meeting. I would recommend you bring this up to the board's attention if you feel uncertain with the board's transaction. And she had planned to bring up the selling of properties policy adopted by Nancy and Bruce July 3rd, 2017, and also the 95.1. And I know that Dave had spoken about the 95:1. And so I just wanted to make sure that you knew this wasn't something that I had just made up, or that Bianca did indeed say that the reason that she did not sign the deed or the bill of sale, we just got the bill of sale a couple weeks ago, was because she didn't believe in how it was going about it. She didn't.
So Tara, I really hope this is the last time that we have to discuss this.
It is, and if you excuse me for a second, I just wanted to clarify this, that you all received that, because there was, Dave had said, well, this was something I said and it should be in the minutes, and you had wanted to leave it out of the minutes. So I just want to clarify, everybody did get this. Yes, indeed, I did get this letter from Bianca. I have already put in paperwork with the county attorney. So I won't have to speak to you about this particular situation any further. It'll go through the county attorney.
Okay, that's fine. And,
Okay.
and I will just say though, Tara, that I appreciate that Bianca wrote this note to you. I'm questioning her memory on this, and she was in favor of the transaction, and she never brought up any hesitation that she had about doing this, because she truly understood that the town was going to benefit from this transaction.
I can't speak for her, but I don't know why can't we sell town-owned properties for more than the taxes are? Because then I know the previous owner will get any monies above what's owed on the taxes. And I don't see a problem with letting those previous owners who went on some hard times, if they got some extra money for their property or their houses. That's what's beneficial to the town, to get what something is worth. So, but the county attorney has all that information. And I guess that's all I have to say.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
So I would like to request that whether it's Dana or Russ, that the minutes reflect that Tara got confirmation that we received the letter.
Okay.
And as for anything else, obviously, if it's gone to the county attorney, then it becomes a court case, and that's great. But yes, we absolutely, at least I certainly received that letter, and I believe all of us were CC'd at the same time when that went out.
Okay, because I did bring in hard copies, but Dana, everything gets emailed, so. Okay, and thank you, Dave. I appreciate your help in the matter. So with the edits, the minutes not being edited out, I appreciate that.
I just want to try to make sure that everything is clear.
Oh, and I appreciate, all I've ever wanted was transparency in the town forever. So, you guys all work hard, and I thank you for your time.
Good.
Thank you. Okay, credit card policy.
Chris, I wanted just to have the board review the policy. I don't find any issues with the policy, but I am having a problem with turning around payments on credit cards. Our credit cards are issued by Meredith Savings Bank, but they farm it out to First Bank Card in Nebraska. And oftentimes there is quite a lag period of time by the time the statement cuts and the department head receives it and is able to approve it. And as you know, we only pay bills every other week. In recent months, We have been unable to get the credit card payment in time to avoid fees, charges. I have talked to the credit card company to find out what ways we can do to avoid this. And they are not amenable to forgiving fees, even though we're a municipality. So a suggestion was made that we have statements emailed to us so that we can be sure it hits the next run date. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. It is something we need to resolve.
So, as you know, to underscore something that Dana just said, you know, we're getting late fees and penalties that are beginning to mount up. So when a bill comes in and it's sat on for any period of time, it might miss a select board meeting and be delayed yet another week or possibly two. So I like the idea of emailing. Were you, Dana, able to ask them about this? It sounds like you tried to contact them as well.
They can, yes, they can email us statements. And I would like them to email them to me, and then I'll reach out to the department head so that something like that. Because obviously I need from the department head for them to take a look at the statement and make sure they agree with it and provide the backup that is required as per policy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to try that to see if that resolves it.
Why? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just wondered, why do we do something with all the banks in New Hampshire, in this area? Why do we do something with a bank way the heck out there?
Well, that's an excellent question. The bank that we got these cars through, and this is pre-Dana, so I can hang on to that as long as I can.
Yeah.
But it's Meredith Village Savings Bank, but they do not service their credit cards. They farm them out to Bank First out in Nebraska. I don't know if maybe another bank, a local bank, would be more local, but I think credit card bills and things like that are usually farmed out to those types of companies rather than done within the bank.
Okay, I don't know. I have no idea. But
well, and I have to say I'm not an expert at this. I'm just this is what I believe.
I got a question. Why can't we use Franklin Savings Bank where we have our regular account?
Do they offer credit cards?
They do.
Do they service their own credit cards?
That I don't know, but I think it'd be easy if we work with the same bank that our checking accounts go through.
That makes sense to me.
Might be easy to do it all with one bank so we don't have to worry about jumping around.
Right. I've done business with Franklin Savings Bank. I love them. I think they're great. So, and they might, if we get late, maybe they wouldn't charge us, you know, a late fee because they would understand the whole thing. So,
or they might be able to set the fee schedule for us in a way that matches our meetings. So
would you like me to check with Franklin Savings?
Yes. That
Okay.
sounds like a really good idea.
I would suggest doing that. In the meantime, to help avoid these late statements, these late fees. And I know that it as part of the policy, it's to quote the policy, if the statement is not submitted in a timely manner, the department using the card will be responsible for interest or late charges added for that item purchased from the department's expense line item. So obviously that's been happening, I believe. But if we can make budgets smaller by them not needing that amount in them, that's a great thing, and we should be doing that. And I believe both, I'm completely not actually speaking for you both, but I believe both of our chiefs would appreciate not having to spend more of the town's money than required.
Oh, absolutely.
So what we're looking at then is this electronic, either at least for now, and then possibly with Franklin as well. I guess I'd like to, if Emmett is still around and listening, and of course you as well, Steve, I'd like to kind of hear both of your thoughts since you're the chiefs and it's mainly your departments that get credit cards.
I would love to see Franklin Savings Bank, or at least a local one, so that we won't have a problem where we have to pay any late fees. We shouldn't have to, because we're pretty right on it. When the bill comes in, we want to submit the bill immediately to get it over and done with. The last thing I want to do is pay any late fees for anything. That's just a waste of money.
To clarify what I believe it makes sense for us to look at Franklin Savings Bank. But to clarify, what I'm asking about is the switch to electronic billing to start with,
Yep.
so that we can move things faster.
Absolutely. That's the fastest way. Paperless is the way to go.
And Emmett?
Oh, I'm good with that. Yeah, no, it works. I mean, have that stuff right to
So
Dana.
everything would come first to Dana, and
Yeah.
then he would shoot them out to you, and everybody's good with that.
Yep.
Any
Good.
questions, and we go in and give a backup copy to Dana and sign off on it or whatever. So whatever works.
There's no reason for us to have any sort of late fees or interest because we pay the bill in full
Right.
every time. And we pay it as soon as we get it. Of course, we're at the mercy of the mail and the bi-weekly meeting, but
Do we need a motion for that?
I don't think so.
No.
But I appreciate doing it in this way so that we're all in the same room at the same time, but I meant that figuratively.
Credit card.
Anyway, I just want everyone to be on the same page.
Good.
Thanks for bringing that up, Dana. That's a good thought.
But on that credit card thing, you must have an online account, right, Dana? So you can look that up at any time now, or we don't have an online account with that.
Not to my knowledge at the moment, but we could have.
Yeah.
I mean, I know personally, I just get it electronically and I pay it electronically, but
Yeah.
I can't pay it electronically,
Yeah, we can't do that for the town, unfortunately.
Okay.
Good. So
Thank you.
So Dana, you'll follow up with Franklin too?
I will. Yeah. As well as get our current provider to email us the statement.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
No, really. Thank you.
Really, thank you.
We're getting silly. Okay, we have minutes to approve. We have 2 non-publics to go into, and we have a certain budget that we've got to look at. And so is there, other than those things, is there anything else?
You get the budget, you want do the budget after everything, or are we gonna do that for a work session, or what are we gonna do?
Well, let's talk about work session in just 1 second. Let's go
Okay.
immediately to work sessions, Dee, after this. Dana, I got a note that Nancy Cummings' stipend had not been paid. Has that been remedied? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't think
You're
I did.
muted, Dana.
Dana?
Dana,
Okay, sorry. All of a sudden, everyone disappeared. I don't know what happened, but it really wasn't me, I promise. In this run, it was paid. I
Oh,
didn't
good.
know we had a deputy treasurer, so now I
Oh,
do. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. I get to. All right. In terms of work sessions, I think perhaps we should revisit the old idea of when we have a big on a night of department head meetings, for example. I would like to propose formally that the select board meet at 5:30 on those nights so that we can get the minutes done, because some of these minutes they're really old. And so, I want to get the minutes approved a little bit more quickly, and there's just so much stuff to do right now. So
Meeting sooner doesn't help for getting minutes.
we would see to the minutes at the work session rather than push
Oh, okay.
minutes to get approved later and later into the night when nobody feels like doing them. So we would just take care of, the paperwork stuff from 5:30 to 6:30, and then from 6:30 on, we could go right into department head meetings and anybody else that wanted to come before us. And that way we would not have meetings that would go past 9 o'clock, because it's not efficient.
I'm generally not available that soon. Almost all of my meetings for all of the different boards that I'm on start at 7, not even at 6:30. So earlier does not work for me as a general purpose. One-offs, I've been able to try and make that work, but not as a general course of action.
Okay, well, that's why I'm suggesting it, Dave, just for the department head meetings. So it would be one time a month, and it might prevent us from getting, backlogged. I mean, anyway, 6:30. Anyway, I'll take anybody's thoughts, really.
Well, I think that's a good idea. 5:30 to 6:30 for the stuff for the once a month isn't bad. So
we need an hour in order to discuss minutes once a month?
Well,
No.
whatever the paperwork is, different paperwork.
And, here's the other thing. We have all these, there are all these select board projects that have not been, we haven't had the time to look at updating certain policies and, talk about some stuff that really was part of the way that we had, the code enforcement officer, time to work on that. We had talked for a while, maybe a year ago, about trying to create a junkyard ordinance. Very difficult thing to do in this state, but some towns have succeeded in doing it, and people keep calling me, not on a continual basis, but I've heard from a number of people frustrated with the fact that, people have many, many trucks and cars, and, they've got, what I mean?
Junk.
So anyway, there's stuff to do beyond the stuff that we've been working on. So
Which generally we would normally do in the same period of time, but non-budget season.
Budget season makes it hard. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So generally we would just start doing that once we settle on the budget and move out of budget season at the same normal times.
Yeah. So, we can see how that works. But before we were meeting in that way, and we were getting a lot of work done. And during budget season, it's particularly difficult because, we've got new people here. We're all getting used to how this is working. And anyway, I'm feeling very much like I can't go, and I don't want to go beyond 9 o'clock. And I think that we have so much stuff to do. We oftentimes need to go beyond 9 o'clock, but I don't know that it's well thought out stuff. Just speaking for myself, I get really tired by 9 o'clock.
Well, I would suggest that making a meeting longer isn't going to help that. So just starting the meeting earlier in the hopes to end at 9 o'clock is just going to make it even worse by 9 o'clock. So I don't think that's going to help you in that regard.
No. I'm awake certain hours of the day, and when it gets to be a certain hour, I don't know, maybe I'm the only one among the three of us old people here that feel this way.
Well, I know after my meetings, I usually end up working on my newspapers, so I can work till 1 o'clock in the morning. I would like to see it earlier, just for one meeting and even a month, really. That would help get some of the paperwork. I thought we used to have a junkyard ordinance, so I'm surprised at that, but
Yeah.
seems to me years ago we used to. I don't know if it just disappeared or what, but because I don't know. That'll be a different story. But can't you do that once a month, David?
Well, if we're not having to meet earlier for our work sessions, that would certainly be something that I could make sure would happen. But currently, Chris has been making our work sessions early all the time, so.
I'm not. No.
Well, if we do.
That one time we met at 6 o'clock. That was all I got. I would rather meet at 5:30.
Well, why don't we just try it and see how things work? We get a lot more done.
Why don't we try it? Why don't we try it for one, just on the night, just during budget season, budget season, and for department head meetings. And then we'll see what the agendas look like. I mean, you don't know from week to week what's going to come up. And since we're meeting now every week through budget season, we can just see how it works. Dana, what do you think? You're involved in this too.
I do agree that after 9 o'clock, I don't think meetings are that productive. And I'm being selfish here because when you've been here for 12 hours, 13 hours, your sharpness is a little dull. I started off dull. I don't need any help. But so I do agree with that. I would like to just say that I would very much, I'm not trying to put more work on the board, but would like very much to have I don't know what I'm going to call it, a retreat or a goal setting session so that we can revisit all these goals that we have. I would like to have, I'm a goal person, believe it or not, and I'd like to know what my goals are for the year. I'd like to be able to give other people what their goals are for the year and move forward. And it's been me, I've just been so busy with everything. I've been too busy. I'm so busy doing my job. I don't have time to do my job. And I,
Right.
It's, that's not really where we want to go. So I guess my opinion is, I think we could be more productive in a shorter amount of time. And I would, obviously, sometimes you have to go over 9 o'clock. I'm not saying I turn into a pumpkin, but I think all of us get a little tired by then. So I guess that's just really what I have to say. I think that budget time is particularly stressful because you're so busy with the budget and getting ready for town meeting. But during the year, and many things come up that you have to deal with the housekeeping end of things, that it takes up a lot of time. And so I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of what I think.
It does.
For reference for you, we have in the SharePoint both a SB projects folder and a future projects or topics folder, which should help give you some ideas of what we've been looking at. Not some of them may have statuses, some of them will be familiar, such as the White Plains Road Bridge. But
this may shock you. I have read that.
Okay.
But yeah. But I think that I guess maybe what I'd like to discuss is what we can do from the staff to help move it along.
Well,
sounds good.
Good thinking.
So I like the idea of, a kind of a, what did you call it?
I called it a retreat.
A retreat.
Yeah.
I like that idea. And were you thinking of like an in-person thing or a Zoom thing or?
Well, of course, I'm from the in-person stage, but a Zoom thing is fine. But obviously, all your meetings are open to the public, but a session that you're really just speaking amongst yourself, making plans, anyone can sit in, of course. But I think it's a time to maybe some of those goals that are in your folder, we need to look at those and be realistic what we can do this year, maybe, or pick a time period what we can do this year, and maybe next year something else.
And
Just my
maybe-
thought. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's a really good idea. And after Dave and Bianca, right at the beginning of Dave's time, I had said something this past summer about, the three of us should get together and do that. And then it became untenable because of COVID. So I think it's a really good idea. It's possible that maybe we should wait on it to see who ends up being the next select board.
I think that's probably a good idea to wait until spring or whenever a new board member comes on.
Mhm.
And
Sure.
in the past, when
Yeah.
I've done these, it's usually been that time frame when you have a new board member
Yeah. So
to
it's a
do
good
it. I
idea.
agree. Yeah.
So
I would suggest either following town meeting, however that ends up being, if it can be, fully in person, or the Monday following that town meeting would be a perfect time for that, since then we would have all of those new people on board, and it can be a combination of status catch up and also this is, what we have on our plate. How do we want to move forward and with what?
Right.
mhm. So, okay, well, we don't have another department head meeting until February sometime.
Yeah. It looks like it's going to be February 8th.
Yeah, February 8th. So Dave, can we try a 5:30 meeting? I mean, let's get that meeting is dangerously close to when we have to have the budget hearing and the rest of it. So it would probably
Yeah, the
be-
hearing is on the 4th
Yeah.
before
The
that.
hearing's the previous Thursday.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
So our work session.
Yeah.
Our work session.
Our
might
work
be-
session will be the important part before that, not this
Sure,
upcoming.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. So maybe we could meet 5:30 that night.
The 18th?
No, the 1st of February.
Oh, okay. I thought I saw a work session on the 18th of January, so.
Yeah, we'll have one then too. But we'll have that one and the next select board meeting at 6:30.
Okay, so Monday, the 1st, you want a work session?
Yeah,
Okay,
because 3 days later we have the budget hearing.
yeah.
Mhm. I
January
would
18th
certainly
is a
hope we have it
holiday
all.
for us.
Yep.
What did you say, Dana?
I said January 18 is a holiday.
Oh, so we're not having a work session?
Oh yeah, Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
I could meet on another day that week.
We could do it Tuesday night.
Yeah.
It does not look like I've got things scheduled on Tuesday that week, so
That's the
that could work.
19th. Yeah.
Dee, could you do that?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm
Is
crossing
that gonna
out.
be a 5:30 meeting?
That's going to be a 6:30 meeting.
6:30.
Yeah. So we're going to have a select board meeting on the 19th at 6:30.
Oh, that's a work session though, right?
That's a work session. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a work session.
All right.
And then the select board meeting the week after that on the 25th,
25th.
that'll be a 6:30 meeting.
6:30.
And then on the work session on the 1st, can we do that at 5:30?
Okay with me. I'd almost think you need 2 work sessions
We can try that.
personally. Oops.
Yeah, for February 1st, we can try that. I honestly, I would probably suggest trying to do that the 19th instead, because for the earlier one rather than the 1st, because I don't think we want to be trying to make last minute changes on February 1st to anything that we're trying to show up in the budget on the 4th.
That's true.
That's what I say.
That meeting prior to the budget hearing is usually a meeting where the budget has been pretty much tied up, and we go over how each of us is going to present the various parts of the budget.
Mhm.
So it's sort of a little practice session for us.
Yeah, okay.
But your point is well taken. So, tonight we'll work on the budget, and next week we'll work on the budget. Maybe we'll see how far we can get.
So next week is that 19th. And then
Yeah,
it's a normal meeting, the 25th, and then the 1st, and then the budget hearing.
Yeah, so next week's work session,
Mhm.
we can see how far we get on that.
Okay.
And if we're not where we want to be, if we feel like we need to add in another session, then we'll just do that. We'll still have that select board meeting the 25th,
Right.
but we can add in another meeting if we want to too. I don't think we're going to need it because I think we're in pretty good shape. There's just,
Yep.
I was looking at the budget in a little bit more earnest over the weekend, and I had to get my mind off of the catastrophe of Washington,
Oh,
DC.
yeah,
So-
no kidding.
Good
Yeah.
luck.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it actually got my mind off it, believe it or not. Anyway, so do we know where, we know what we're doing then?
So the 19th, we're meeting at what time again, please?
5:30.
5:30.
No,
Yeah,
no, we're not. We're not meeting until 5:30. We're not meeting at 5:30 until the night of Monday the 4th. I mean, Monday the 1st of February.
I thought we were gonna go
But
through.
that's not a,
No,
that's not a department.
That's not a
head
select
meeting.
board meeting.
That would be
it's
the
the-
8th.
The 8th, right. And so that's right. So that's going to be at 5:30. Okay, and that's
What
gonna be 6:30.
I thought, why did I think the 19th we were gonna meet early? Because we're gonna work on the stuff for the budget hearing.
Because, well, no, on the 19th.
I suggested that it would make more sense to do it on the 19th.
Yes,
Instead
by
of after the
5:30.
budget hearing,
Right. I
because that
agree.
way everything is all done beforehand.
But we're not going to work on the budget meeting. We're going to work on the budget.
Right.
So we don't need to meet at 5:30 if all we're going to do is work on the budget.
Okay.
Because we can
That's
get
fine.
everything done. We can
6:30
get-
on the 19th is fine.
Yeah. And 6:30 on the 25th.
Mhm.
And then 5:30, whenever it was we said, on
That
the
would be
8th.
the 8th.
First,
On the 8th.
On the 8th.
Yeah,
Are
Is
you
that-
meeting the first
we are. We're going to have a work session, but again,
at 6:30? Okay,
at 6:30.
okay. Thank you.
Okay,
Hopefully Russ has that.
I have it. I've done a lot of crossing out, but I've got it. There was one other thing, the finance coordinator.
Yes,
Um,
thank you. I wanted to talk about that. Russ and I have gone through the,
Dana, did we wanna
Resumes.
Move in non-public for that one?
yeah, I was gonna say, I think you should do non-public.
I was just going to talk in
Well-
generalities, but if you want to do non-public, we can.
I thought we were going to talk in generalities too, but that's
Gen-
okay.
Generalities, I think, would be good if it's short, and then we'll do our budget stuff in non-public afterwards.
Basically, what I was going to say is that we really have maybe 3 candidates out of the candidates that we've received that would be anyone we might consider. And so in the non-public session, I'll go through them a little more detail. However, I would love to decide how we're going to interview and maybe get someone in here the week after next or something like that.
Yeah, we need to do this in non-public.
So
So, okay.
fair enough, that makes sense.
Okay. So let's see where we are.
While she looks at the agenda, I'll make a quick announcement in here.
Okay.
For those of you that are following around on the stream, you will notice at the top left of the window, it says live on YouTube. We are doing a test currently to check out streaming to YouTube so that it will be easier and cheaper for the residents and the town to provide you this live stream. And if that works out well, then it will be a lot cheaper, and we can start doing it for a lot more things instead of just 2 select board meetings.
Good. How long does it stay up on YouTube?
Basically indefinitely, and unless YouTube decides that you are not worth having an account and they delete everything.
I see.
The difference is with town hall streams, we're limited in quantity and quality, and we pay a fair amount for it. But they guarantee that we get it's either 3 or 5 years worth of archives. After that amount of time, they start deleting them. For YouTube, we have no limits on anything, but we're not guaranteed archival. And as long as we've got things like accurate minutes, then it's probably okay. We can certainly take things like public hearings and keep a copy of them locally as well, or give them to the Historic Society to put on the site, etc., as other possible options that we can talk about at that time. But I just wanted to point out that we are trying to go down this road to see what is available to save the town money and make us more open at the same time by allowing basically every board and committee and commission to be able to stream live and or at least archive.
Good idea.
Yeah, if the archive thing is an option, I think it's important to have these things archived, even though we've got minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so good.
Well,
I think
obviously we're not going to delete them, but
No, but they might.
Yeah, it's just a recognition that YouTube is not guaranteed to be permanent.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I would suggest that what we should go to next is looking at the accounts payable check warrant, because I would like to get that signed. And Dana, are you going to send that to us?
To be signed? Yes, I will.
Okay, great. So Dave and Dee, have you had a chance to look at?
I have.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a frightening one, because we're the first payment to the Merrimack Valley School District. Exactly. So if either of you have any comments to make them now.
No, I have nothing.
All right. I would like to make a motion to approve the accounts payable check warrant for check date 1/11/2021.
You don't need me.
I'm sorry.
Good night.
Oh, good night.
I see.
In the amount of $345,221.56.
Second.
Oh, she can have it.
Sorry.
Second.
I'll get the next one.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, excellent. And then there is a bill to be paid by the trustees of the trust funds.
VHB.
Yes, as a matter of fact. So I would move to approve. I would move to request the trustees of trust funds issue a check for $2,366.85 to VHB for invoice number 330232-19. These funds to come from the Bridge and Culvert Capital Reserve Fund.
6, 8, 5. question. I'll second, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Question. So the 2366.85 is total on the invoice, but I also see the $46, which appears to be a reimbursement, but is also a stream survey. I'm sorry, I'm sideways because it's a horizontal page.
Oh, yes.
And the long thing
Oh,
at the
yes,
end.
yes.
Dana, can you briefly speak to that?
Are we looking at the last page that says the
Yes.
stream safely? I'm sorry, Dave, tell me what your question is again.
What is that $46? Because it looks like it's an expense here, yet at the end of, yet in the invoice itself, it looks like it's showing up as a mileage reimbursement. So I don't see a $46 in the invoice anywhere else. So
Well, there is the $46 is on the second page of the bill under reimbursable expenses. It is mileage.
Where did they go?
I think they probably went to the bridge, but to tell you the truth, I don't know for sure.
I wonder if they went to the state. I wonder how that whole thing is coming along, actually, whether they've heard anything back from the state.
He is coming to talk to you on the 25th.
Oh,
Greg Goodrich. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So are you all set, Dave, then?
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it is listed as 80 miles in the amount of 46. And the reason was Stream SGA and Shoreland survey.
Yeah.
So, okay, that makes sense then. Thank you.
Okay, so you seconded it.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, and let's see. Was there anything else?
The payroll manifest.
Oh, payroll warrant, right. Right. Okay, and that looked fine to me. So I would move. Oh, thank you. Did you have something to say, Dave?
No.
Okay.
I just opened it up, so maybe my face lit up.
Oh.
There's more white in front of me now.
I would move to approve payment of the payroll manifest from 1/11/2021 in the amount of $18,205.12.
Second. Oh, sorry, Dave.
Whatever.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 It's interesting. We both jumped to second.
Yes. Getting this meeting moving.
Okay, so trustees, all right, so that's all motions. All right. Is Emmett still with us?
He is. Yeah.
Okay, Emmett, you're the only public here. Do you have any comment or concern or anything?
No, I'm good. I was just keeping up with the neighbors. That's all.
Okay. Okay.
We do need to approve our minutes.
Yes, we do. And so let's go there. Now, I think I've requested this before, but I would deeply appreciate it if these minutes could be done in Word rather than as a PDF, because first of all, I can't work with PDFs. I don't know how to edit a PDF, and I don't want to have to write down corrections that I might have on another piece of paper when something could be done just as easily in a Word document. Is that possible, Russ?
Yep, I thought I submitted them all to Dana on Word. I must have missed one.
Well,
we certainly can do it. We'll watch that when it goes out, make sure it's in Word. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. And then in Word too, when you're going along and if your diction is off or there's a misspelling, it will underscore it for you. I don't
Right.
know if
Well, they're being written in
PDFs
Word. It's just that we get them as PDFs afterwards because we're not supposed to
Oh,
make
you're
changes
get-
until they're, unless we're saying what those alterations are.
okay, so if we were to upload it to SharePoint direct from our files, it would be in Word.
Yes. Instead of printing that.
Oh,
way.
okay. All
I
right.
think
Sorry.
that's what she's wanting, and that's fine.
All
We
right.
just have to make sure that when
Right, because
we do edits,
I'm probably
we mention
scanning
all
them to
clearly.
send them to you. Okay, so that puts it in a PDF.
Mhm.
Okay.
thank you. And thank all the gods in the heavens above. I really
Amen.
appreciate that. So, okay, what minutes would you all like to start with?
Well, let's. I'd suggest we do it in chronological order.
Okay,
So that would start with September 29th, 2020. This was a languishing one. My
languishing one. I
yeah.
love that.
My comment would be two that are spelling, line 36 and line 38. The first one is installing, and the second one is it should be key fob. I don't remember what was actually there. I think there's a missing letter in installing, and key fob I think was key fab.
Okay, got it.
Key fab sounds like more fun though.
I like the key fab though,
Yes, yes.
especially when you're instilling it.
So those would be my only two suggestions for edits, or I should say amendments.
I'm sorry to delay. I have to get back into SharePoint again because I keep coming out and I don't know why that happens. I don't know what I'm doing to make
I
it
purposely
come out.
downloaded all of it so that it just sits in a folder on my computer, so that way I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Oh, that's really a good idea.
Just for future.
That's
Makes
really
it easier.
So there's probably an easy way to download all of it.
Yep.
Like you do it simultaneously, like in one go, you can do that.
Yeah, when you're looking at the folder, there's a little circle next to it that you can check off, and then there's a download button at the top, and it downloads the whole folder as a zip file for you.
Oh, marvelous. Okay. So yeah, so we're looking at September 29th.
Yes.
Okay.
And I wasn't there, so I won't vote on it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I noticed. Yeah, instilling, you got that.
That was
one.
still with Bianca.
Yeah. God,
It seems so long ago, but it was only a couple months.
Yeah. Okay, good. Do you want to move to accept them?
Sure. I would move to accept the meeting minutes from September 29th, 2020 as amended.
I a second. That's all in favor.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Wonderful. Next minutes are in October.
10/26.
Yeah, October 26th.
I wasn't there either.
And I did not have any specific notes on this.
No, I don't think that I did either. Hold on a minute.
You weren't there, Dee?
No.
Okay.
This is the one where we discussed her.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, according to
this
my
was still
records, you
Bianca.
were, so I'm going to cross that out. Yeah.
I have her as being present, and I believe that's because this was the first one, I believe, and when we basically did the public interview of Dee.
That's right. Yeah, it says also.
Oh.
I was
No.
also present.
She was present, but not on the board. It was still Bianca at the time.
Okay,
That's
so
right.
she was half present. Okay.
It was the right half of her was there, and we wanted the whole thing.
Mhm.
So I move to accept the minutes of October 26, 2020
As written,
as written.
and I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so now,
December
Now-
7th.
yeah,
And I was there.
okay.
This was our meeting with the lawyers.
Yep. And yeah, no, I thought these were fine.
I actually didn't have one, but I just saw one. At
Oh,
the very end, roll call vote is listed twice.
Okay,
oh,
I put that there just to test you.
I failed. I failed.
Sorry.
I do tend to skim a lot of things, so that's why I didn't notice it the first time.
Well, unfortunately, so do I.
So
Make
Dave,
a motion, we accept the December 7th minutes.
second, All in
As
favor?
amended. Aye.
As amended, okay,
as
yes, sorry.
amended, that big amendment,
Yeah,
as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Aye. Okay. And then finally, December 28th, I think. Yeah.
And so there are, my first comment for this one is the document is doubled. So there's 3 pages and then the same 3 pages again. So we don't need that. Probably just the way it got scanned into us though. The second is a minor thing, spelling of health officer, line 30, page 1.
That's
Got
what
it.
I,
Yeah.
in
And,
two places on that line, by the way.
Okay. The heat
and,
officer. Yeah.
and then line 26, page 2, the Concord Drive estimate was 160,000, not 100,000.
Okay.
And I did confirm that with Emmett.
On line 35 of page 2, line 35, back from Chair of the Trustees, EES.
Okay.
Okay.
You don't like the trust ties.
Well, it's cute,
Okay.
but not right. So, all right, let's see. And I think that's all I had.
Mhm.
Okay. Dave?
That's it for me.
Okay.
I make a motion, we accept the December 28th Selectmen's meeting minutes with amendments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Look at that. Look at us moving through these things. Okay.
I still owe you the minutes from the 14th and the 21st, which I told Russ I would do. So naturally, that's why you don't have them. So I'll have those ready.
Okay. Do you all want to go into non-public and get that over with and then see what we've got left for the budget?
Yep. Sounds like a plan.
All right. Keep in mind that we cannot restart the stream. So once we're out of public, we're out of public. Not that we are legally required to have the stream, but I know that people appreciate that, especially when we're talking about things like budget.
I know.
Were you
Okay.
going to talk about Mount Vernon Drive
Yes.
in a public session?
Well, it has to do with money, so yes.
Okay.
But it doesn't, well, yeah, it does have to, yeah, so we'll do that in a non-public. Well, let me ask all of you, going through the budget, do we want to allocate a specific time set that we'll give ourselves to get through what we want to add on the budget or subtract? Because I agree. I keep forgetting that we can't go back into, a stream. So, well, is that true on YouTube as well, Dave?
You can't go back into the stream, but we would not be limited to not creating another new stream.
Don't use so many negatives and say that again.
You,
You'd have two streams for the meeting.
yeah, you would end
Oh.
one stream and then you would
Oh.
start a brand new stream
Okay, okay,
for the remainder on YouTube.
okay,
Where, which is certainly possible. With town hall streams, we can't do that.
okay. And we're doing YouTube tonight?
We
So,
have both going.
oh, both
Nobody
going.
knows about YouTube other than I just announced that we're testing it to make sure that it'll actually work.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think that if we can have a second meeting, oh, but it's not a noticed meeting though. I don't know if that would be legal.
So you're saying that but you could reconvene the meeting. Is that what you mean after the public, the non-public?
Well, if we go into non-public and we reconvene, but would it on YouTube, we can't go back into,
So
public-
ignore
That's the-
YouTube because it doesn't matter for any of the legalities. And for town hall streams, it doesn't matter for legalities. For the purpose of being as open and transparent as possible, we like to keep it going. But going into non-public and then coming out and continuing in public is perfectly legal and is all part of the same meeting. And the Zoom stream is what is the legal requirement for that, for people to dial in and be able to participate and listen, etc. So as long as we are checking to make sure that if someone shows back up, they are allowed back into Zoom, we are legally okay to do it that way.
okay.
But then people don't see us talking about the budget, which is unfortunate.
Mhm. Well, I think,
However,
would-
based on the time being 9 o'clock and you're not liking after 9 o'clock, I would suggest that maybe you make a couple of your questions about the budget that we answer, and then we go into non-public and then can, finish instead of coming back out and trying to work on the budget again.
okay, well, let me just ask then, I had a couple of comments that I inserted into the budget itself. I'm wondering if anybody saw any of those.
I saw a bunch of extra sheets, but I didn't go
don't know
look
what
at
those
specific
extra
comments.
Yeah.
So if you tell me where they are, I'll go find them.
Okay, so let me get to the budget. The budget. Budget worksheet. Okay. One. And Dana, did you happen to see any of them?
No, I did not. So I'm having a little.
Okay, so on.
But I'm going to look. Yeah.
Under funding for warrant articles. On line 11.
Town office equipment.
Town office equipment. Since we just purchased a whole bunch of brand new tables, desks, and so on, I am wondering why we need to have another, $5,000 proposed. I am wondering what that is going to cover.
From previous discussion, it sounded like my expectation of being able to use technology fund money towards the replacement copier in the future was not something that would be possible. So that it would then come out of town office equipment, which definitely covers that.
Yeah.
So I believe that was the driving reason for continuing to fund town office equipment.
Okay, so that's fine. I remember that, and I'm fine with that. Let's see. There was now why can't I go to, I'm on estimated tax rate and it's not letting me go back anymore.
That's the first one. There's nothing to go back to.
Oh, good. Okay.
So everything will be forward from there.
Okay. And I don't know how we get rid of all those extra sheets. I hope I didn't end up putting them there. Under
That's okay. I'm sure Dana's got a master copy that will get, clean next time anyway. So
under expenditure summary,
Mhm.
I was interested in the transfer station under solid waste disposal, sorry, line 21. And I found out that Hopkinton has budgeted only $95,000 for the Webster reimbursement for 2021. And so we have allocated 110,000 rather than that 95. And I'm wondering if perhaps our 110,000 could be pared back a bit.
So I would probably agree that it probably can be. Hopkinton does do somewhat similar to us in that is a revenue. So they are being slightly cautious with the amount in their estimated, because you're looking at the budget portion, not what is a bill to us. And so those are different. But also the amounts are based on, the actual amounts are based on what they really do and use. And they said that they were expecting those to basically be going up for costs. So that's why, let's see, it looks like we didn't touch our budget from 2020 to 2021.
We didn't. It's the same as it was last year. And this year it is going to be very close to 110 because we just paid a bill that's not listed in the paid bills for 22,000
What? For the
recycling center, the transfer station.
Yeah. But is that a bill that would have been a 2020 bill or 2021?
2020.
Okay.
And I got another one today for a small amount. For some reason, they billed, I don't have the bill right in front of me, but it wasn't billed to the end of the month. It was only to the 22nd. So today I got a bill for the 23rd through the 31st.
So
Okay.
what is that bill cover, Dana? Is it just taking stuff away from the transfer?
Basically what it is the town of Webster pays 25% of the transfer station budget. And so they look at their expenses and revenues, giving us credit for 25% of the revenues and charging us 25% of the expenses, and they bill us that.
I just wonder how come it's such an expense? Is that it can't be every month, so they must do more like 2 or 3 months at a time.
It's a quarter D, yeah.
Oh, quarter, okay.
Quarter, yeah.
Okay.
Or roughly a quarter, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so this year it looks like our actual outlay was 107,103 from the budget that through 12/31 that Dana has made available to us there.
Okay, so I didn't see the 22,000 that he just paid. I don't see that on here, right?
Yeah.
You don't see it in what you're looking at, Chris. No, I haven't.
No. Okay.
Yeah, the spreadsheet doesn't reflect that.
Yeah.
But so the 83,757 that you see is actually for expenditures for 2020 is actually 107,000 and change.
Okay, so let's leave it then. Going down to community action program, it looks like we used all of 5,400 during 2020. And I'm wondering how, because most of 2020 kids were not going anywhere to participate in anything. So what happened there?
I think that was a donation to one entity. And
I would be curious which entity and when that was. Which I'm sure you're looking for right now.
I am trying to refresh my memory. Sorry. Community action program. Okay. Well, I need to go somewhere else for this. Hopefully I won't lose you, or I can't minimize you. All right. I now know why I can't use my own computer for this Zoom.
And to answer your next question, Chris, about the library, it didn't, that was a weird check error. And so it's actually even, and they're expecting the exact same this coming year.
Okay, so 57,217 should be 4,999.
Yes.
Okay.
And you can see that in the town budget through 12/31/20. But that was basically the check that had to get reissued, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, great.
I'm sorry, I'm still looking at the community action. I'll be back with you momentarily.
Oh, that's fine. I was just trying to answer her next question while you looked.
The I put on here to review 4 of the things here. Financial administration up on line 5. We had budgeted 73,000 for 2020 and used 56,348. I'm guessing by paying Nancy Bates and then Phil's wife.
So that includes bookkeeper, finance administrator, but also things like audit services, payroll services, tax collector stipends, association dues, the treasurers and their stipends.
Oh gosh, I don't think that's clear at all.
All of that is in financial administration.
I think it should be broken out.
Which if you go to the, well, I mean, it is all finances, but that's perfectly fine to suggest that. But if you go to the financial administration tab, you'll see all of those there.
Okay. Financial administration tab. Okay. Well, and then government buildings. So
let me go find that tab.
So
General
that's
government buildings. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So
what do you want to review on that one?
Well, we've got, I guess I'm wondering what that entails. I mean, is that the safety building probably?
No. So this is, well, part of it is safety building. This is custodian wages. I'll just list the items that are in it. Custodian wages, repairs and maintenance.
Wait a minute. What page are you looking at that you're?
General government buildings.
Okay. Oh, I see it down there. Okay.
Yeah. So custodian wages, repairs and maintenance, supplies, propane,
got it.
heating oil.
Okay, got it.
All of that is like town hall. Then there's also the public safety buildings maintenance, supplies, propane, all of the telephone lines, all of the electric for all of the buildings, and all of the postage for all departments. So general government.
Okay. Now, with regard to postage, my hope would be that our postage could be reduced, because we should be relying on email more now.
Well, I think a lot of your postage are things like mailing out taxes, or that
Legal
sort of
stuff.
thing.
Yeah,
legal stuff.
Most of the mail is
us
the
talking.
clerk and the tax collector.
And okay, so none of that. Yeah, I understand how the tax collector, that needs to be a paper, and the stuff with the clerk does as well.
I think the notifications for planning, if there's any planning board meetings or
Sending out to abutters, that sort of thing.
right,
Though I believe the planning board has its own budget for office supplies for that. So I
Yeah.
might be wrong. But yeah, so all of that sort of stuff, the postage, all departments, that's where that goes.
Okay. Okay, and then the firefighting is up about 3,000, but that's not a great.
Yeah, the firefighting increase, I don't have to go look at it because I looked into it before. The firefighting increase was like he gave us, actually Emmett's still here. He gave us the exact same budget, but the increase is based on the dispatch services. And it's just what they're charging us, and that's the only thing that went up.
Mm,
And that's all comes off in the value of the town and all that. That's how they figure all that stuff out.
right, right.
Call
Okay.
volume.
Okay.
And you said review for police. I don't know what you wanted to review there, but let me go over to that tab. Police.
Review for police.
And the general is everything stayed the same except for a couple reductions and increases in salary and wages.
So the 3.81% increase with the police is due to what?
So there are only 4 line items that increased, and they are all salaries and wages. And if you remember, we authorized increase of a couple different folks getting paid in order to make it slightly more competitive. And then,
Oh yes, I remember.
then we're also and also Jordan, and so we are expecting the other increase, another increase later, and I believe all of that is in this budget in order to bring us up to being mostly competitive with neighboring towns.
Right. Okay. Good. That's what I had.
Community action was its community action program of Belknap and Merrimack counties.
Yeah.
And it's a request for the 2020 appropriation in the amount of $5,400 voted by the townspeople to support Community Action's Kearsarge Valley Warner Area Center for the town of Webster.
So whether any kids attend or not, we pay $5,400 so that they can attend.
It doesn't say anything about kids, but I guess that's what it is, but it doesn't say anything about attendance.
Okay.
I don't think it is kids. I don't think that.
I don't think that one
Warner,
is.
no, the Pinnacle Community Center was the kids.
Yeah.
I thought it was things like assistance with things like fuel and sort of more human service type related things.
That
Yeah, I
has to
think
do
you're
with the,
right, Dana.
does
I'm
that
sorry.
have to do with the Meals on Wheels program too, maybe?
Yeah, I think that was part of
Yeah.
it too.
Probably.
Yeah. I know that's good that them people that come around to bring their meals around to the elderly people, they really do a good job. They check on people and
Yeah.
it's sometimes it's the only people that they get to see through
Yeah.
the week.
You have done that for a number of years
Yep.
by the looks.
Yeah.
So I would actually say that I'm all for finding places that we can pull more out of the budget, but I'd say that I'm fairly happy with the way that we're looking right now. Overall, the budget itself for the operating budget is up 2.28%. But the warrant articles are down 4.18%. So the total to be raised via taxation and revenues is only up 0.4%. And so I think that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah. Oh, I can't get rid of any of this. Yeah.
And you can see that at the first portion for the estimated tax rate stuff.
Dave, can you say that again? The operating budget is up 2.29%?
2.28%.
2%. Oh, okay.
Warrant articles are down 4.18%. And so the overall total to be raised by taxes would be up 0.4%.
Okay.
As our draft budget currently says.
Yeah, okay.
The unfortunate side effect is that due to the economy and COVID, which of course is the impact driver for the economy, we're expecting a fair amount less in revenues. So that does mean that the overall tax rate doesn't look amazing the way that it sits. But as far as budget and warrant articles, we've actually come in really quite good and not increased much of anything other than the things we have to. For example, dispatch.
Yeah. No, it looks good. I know. And you can't, the revenues, we don't have much control over revenues. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've been very conservative with some of the revenues.
Mm-hmm. Are there revenues that you think we may not need to be as conservative with?
I wish I had a better feel of knowing what the room and meals tax is coming in at.
Yeah, they were not able to give you guidance on that yet?
No, they told me that it wouldn't be till July when they would know.
Oh, that'll help our budget.
That's that fiscal year thing that we run. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, they're trying to figure.
Can we
their budget
postpone
out, so.
doing this until July? We could all meet then. But anyway, that's the only one that I think that we've got 80 in there.
Yeah, we received 96.
Yeah, this year.
In the last 2 years, based on the budget, but of course, room and meals tax is based on what they take in.
Yeah.
And the Republicans, which are in control for the most part right now, have also stated that they're intending to lower taxes. So I don't expect that they'll be taking more of that in, including the fact that we're still going through COVID time. So unless there's a real like roaring 20s thing going on, as soon as all this gets some vaccinations, I don't really think we can expect to get even close to the same amount that we had. So I think the 80 is probably fairly reasonable.
Of course, we get to September when we're starting to think about setting the tax rate, and that's when we can look at our actual for 2021 and bump it up to help offset the tax when we set the tax rate.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because what we're looking at here is just based on our numbers of what we know now, which is, well, it's what we know now, but we don't know what the assessed value of the community might come back at.
True.
Then.
And there are at least another couple houses being constructed. And
So,
in theory, we'll get some back from some of the utility stuff. But we certainly won't get all of it back that we lost this year.
If the houses in town have been selling for a great deal more than they would have sold last year, wouldn't that improve the assessment of the town?
the answer to that's a very easy yes or no. If you did a reval, it would reflect the current sales would reflect in the assessment values. However, as you know, we only do a fifth of the town
Right.
each year. So depending on where we might pick it up, we might not see that until that section is assessed. And also, you have to measure the town by the same yardstick, even though it might not be 3 feet long, if you know what I'm saying. It just, it's all relevant. So if the town's undervalued, it's undervalued for everybody, but the tax rate adjusts for that.
And yeah, and so I think it's one of the things to keep in mind is that the best way to look at budgeting and the way that taxes are is to look at that total to be raised by taxes, because whether or not the town is worth more or worth less as a whole isn't going to change your percentage of how much of that tax you need to pay. It'll change the percentage based on the value of your house, but
Yeah.
it's not going to pay how much tax you actually
Yeah.
pay. The only time that will change is when you do something like build a brand new house, in which case now there's more people to divide it amongst.
Right.
So will drop.
There's more pieces of the pie to go with. Yeah.
Right.
So only new construction really helps that. Percentage wise, it can look great, but it's not going to actually change how much anyone pays unless we're changing that total to be raised by taxes number.
Okay. Well, I would suggest then, since it doesn't look like anything monumentous needs to be discussed, that we leave this and do the non-public, which we have to get to tonight, even though our brains are going to be fried, all except for Dave's. He's just waking up, you can tell.
Hey, Dee's going to go work on her paper afterwards.
No, believe it or not, I got Salisbury's done and but I was up at 5 o'clock this morning finishing it up. So now I can start working on Bosquen.
So my question right before we do that, Dana, is what is the process for us actually finalizing the budget, since it sounds like we're all fairly happy with where it is? What do we need to do to finalize this?
Well, I think
What's the process?
the next step, once you come to your decision that the budget is what you'd like to present to the voters, I think then you'd want to discuss how you're going to present it to the voters at the public hearing. And based on input, I mean, at that point, you may change the budget based on input. But you definitely have to have it solid by the 22nd so it can be posted with the warrant. But I think right now, I think most of the hard rowing has been done.
So in order to be at that point, it sounds like then at our next budget work session, we probably just finalize that, yep, there's nothing we really want to change, and then make a motion that this is going to be our budget and then move forward.
Right.
Okay.
And then,
perfect.
And be ready for the public hearing on the 4th.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. So then I am going to assume that we are ready to go into a non-public. Yes.
Sounds good.
Yep.
That's all right.
Okay.
We're expecting 2 sessions, one under personnel and the other under reputation.
Okay.
So it's
So I would move that we enter into non-public at 9:27 p.m. under 91-A:3, Section 2A. And that is reputation?
That's personnel.
Oh, personnel. Okay.
Yep.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And you'll have to give me a second. I'm actually having a bug with my streaming software that I can't end the stream the way I normally do. So give me one moment and I'm going to go force it.
Dana, I'm going to need your help. Host computer apparently froze and crashed out, so you are now the host, so you have to end the YouTube.
Who does?
Dana does.
I do.
So it's the bottom, so it's right next to leave. You'll see 3 little dots.
Right.
And then
It may also show up at the top left, but where it says record on your screen.
Yeah,
either
okay,
way.
I see recording.
So just hit stop record. It should be
Alright.
on the bottom.
Stop video.
Yeah,
No.
you should be able to stop video. Whoops.
Oh,
wrong
that's
one.
me. Okay, wrong one. All right.
I could try to log in, and if you can make me
Okay,
host.
wait a minute. I think I've got it. Stop live stream.
Yes.
Stop
that's it.
stream on YouTube. Which one?
Stop